Virtual reality, or VR, has been around for a while now. Although it's mostly known for being used in games, researchers have also started exploring whether people learn better when they can immerse themselves into the learning environment. Before we talk about the immersion principle, there are two terms that would help us talk about virtual reality more precisely. Immersion refers to the objective properties of the learning environment and falls on a spectrum. When we put on a VR headset, we're experiencing high immersion. However, virtual reality can also be experienced through a computer screen, which would be low immersion. Then there's presence, which refers to the subjective experience of the learners. This information usually comes from asking learners to rate the virtual world on a scale, or to ask questions like, how real did the virtual environment feel? Marino and Mayer conducted a series of experiments comparing students in high immersion VR environments with students learning through low immersion computer screens. They also presented some students with on-screen text and others with narration. The students who learned in the VR environment with narration fared best, while those who learned in a VR environment with on-screen text did worse when compared to those who learned in low immersion. In another set of studies, they looked at the impact of personalization on immersion and found that although students did better with personalization, they still didn't do well compared to the group who learned their lesson on a computer screen. Interestingly, students in the high immersion VR environment did report a greater sense of presence, but this didn't translate to them doing better on transfer tests, and studies done by other researchers seem to agree with these findings. Although these results don't show a strong support for high immersion, there are a few things to keep in mind. First, Mayer notes that it's hard to establish proper control in these experiments, because there are a lot of differences between learning through a VR headset and through a computer screen. Furthermore, most of the participants in these studies report to being new to virtual reality, so they might have been more easily distracted. Although VR headsets are still expensive today, they're cheaper and more widely used now than when these studies were conducted in the early 2000s. Perhaps students today will be less distracted by learning in VR and more focused on the material. Although the immersion principle doesn't seem to work well, immersion and learning in VR might still be useful in situations where it's not safe, cost-effective, or feasible to learn in person, such as when learning about surgery or safety emergency procedures. There's still a lot we don't know about immersion, and a lot of research left to do. But for now, it seems that students don't learn better through high immersion virtual reality.